Today's recipe calls for limes. We're going to be making margaritas. We're going to do a classic margarita, and then we're going to do a margarita that has kind of a summer vibe to it. So with that said, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do in a medium-sized saucepan is make a simple syrup. In the pan we're going to add half a cup of granulated sugar and half a cup of water. You're going to turn your heat to medium. The goal is to dissolve all of the sugar into our water to make a nice, smooth, simple syrup. This is the same recipe we used for our cocktail video and our St. Patrick's video. So if you haven't seen those, go check them out. And this is what your simple syrup should look like. All of the granulated sugar has dissolved into your water. Once you have this, go ahead and throw it in a holding apparatus to let it completely cool down. I used a measuring cup. This made it just a bit easier. But use what you have. Now that our simple syrup is cooling, we're going to go ahead and juice 5 to 6 limes. We're going to roll them out like we did in our cocktail video and our St. Patrick's video. This helps break up the membrane inside the lime, making it easier to juice, and it'll produce a higher yield. We're going to shoot for about 2 to 3 ounces of lime juice. Depending on how many drinks you're going to make, you'll obviously need more or less. Each drink takes about an ounce to an ounce and a half of lime juice. So if you're going to make more drinks, of course, you're going to need more. And you can use whatever size limes you can find. If you have smaller ones, obviously it'll take more limes, but if you have larger limes, it'll take less. Now start juicing your face off. You can strain your lime juice after you have juiced everything to get rid of the pulp. I didn't because I wasn't too worried about it. Now would be the perfect time to cut lime segments for garnish at this time as well. And at this time, go ahead and cut some lime wedges. We'll use these to help salt the rim of our margarita glass. Now grab your favorite margarita glass and start dabbing it with your lime wedge. You want to ensure that you get quite a bit of lime juice on it. This will help ensure the kosher salt sticks to your glass. I ran down the side of our glass with lime juice just to give it more of an aesthetic look. And take your glass and roll it in your kosher salt to get the side of your glass. It's best to work in a bowl like this. This makes it a lot easier to salt your rim and your glass. Again, we use kosher salt for this. You can use sea salt if you wanted to, but kosher salt is the best. Then we're going to clean the inside of our glass to get rid of the excess salt. You can use a traditional margarita glass for this, but I wanted to go for a bougie look. That's why we're using a cocktail glass. But honestly, I don't have margarita glasses, so that's why we're using this. Now let's get to the best part of this entire video and start making our margarita. To your glass, you're going to add a few ice cubes. Add as much ice as you would like. And grab your favorite cocktail shaker. The first thing we're going to add is 1.5 ounces of fresh lime juice. Next, we'll add 1/2 ounce of our simple syrup. Next, we'll add 2 ounces of Blanco tequila. Blanco, like me. Not really, I'm not fully white. Lastly, we'll add 1.5 ounces of Cointreau. Cointreau is like an orange liqueur. Then we'll throw our lid on it and start shaking our face off, almost like it's a shake weight. Shaking your margarita helps incorporate all of the ingredients together and make sure they're all well mixed. And this introduces tiny air bubbles that gives margaritas a cloudy look to them. Then grab a lime wedge and throw it in your drink with your ice. And start pouring your margarita over the rocks. Grab a lime wedge for garnish. And cheers. Alright, let's give our classic margarita a try. I really like the aesthetic of the glass, how it really came out. Looks really good. So let's give it a shot. It's nice and salty, it's acidic, it's slightly sweet. This is the classic, delicious margarita. Cheers. Can't wait to try the blackberry one. Next, we're going to make a blackberry margarita. First, we're going to start with the simple syrup. This is going to be the same measurements as before. So, 1/2 cup of granulated sugar and 1/2 cup of water. We're going to dissolve our sugar into our water again. Now that all of your sugar has dissolved into your water, you're going to take your pan off the heat. And we're going to add 6 ounces of blackberries. Go ahead and toss them straight into the pan and let them steep in your hot simple syrup. And start crushing up your blackberries. Be careful to ensure that you don't splash the simple syrup on yourself. That'll burn and it'll hurt. But with the wooden spoon, go ahead and start crushing them to release all the juices into our simple syrup. Now that your blackberries have been smashed, go ahead and transfer them over to another holding apparatus. We're going to let this completely cool down like we did before. You should end up with a nice, dark, rich liquid that looks purple in color. Go ahead and scrape your pan to ensure that you get all that delicious sugar. Now that your blackberry simple syrup has had time to cool, we'll go ahead and strain it into another holding apparatus. So grab a small strainer and pour in your blackberry simple syrup. This will ensure to keep all of the blackberries out to give us a nice, smooth simple syrup for our margarita. If you have any of this blackberry simple syrup left over, you can use this to sweeten up your French toast, your pancakes, or hot tea if you choose to. Then grab a spoon and move your blackberries around and lightly push on them to ensure that we get as much simple syrup out of them as possible. You can always keep the mash that's left over in the strainer and eat it. I did. It was pretty good and it was pretty sweet. And you can use that on top of your pancakes and your French toast as well. It's important to cross-utilize everything. We're going to use the same method like we did before in our first margarita and dab our glass with our lime wedge and rolling it around in our kosher salt like we did before. Now we'll start making our blackberry margarita. You want to start with the ice. This helps ensure that none of the ice melts to dilute our drink. We want it full strength, of course. So grab your cocktail shaker, and we're going to start with 2 ounces of Blanco tequila, 1 ounce of lime juice, 1 ounce of Cointreau, and 1.5 ounces of our blackberry simple syrup. Then once again, throw your lid on and start shaking your face off. Then we'll grab a few fresh blackberries and throw them in our drink as well for the nice aesthetic look. They will have soaked up some of the alcohol in the drink, so ensure that you eat them after you're done with your drink. You won't regret it. And then we'll throw in a lime segment as well to round out the nice aesthetic look and pour in our drink. Man, this came out really nice and bright and vibrant. Throw a lime wedge on top for garnish, and cheers.
Alright, let's give our blackberry lime margarita a try. I like the aesthetic, it's a nice color, came out really cool, so let's give it a shot. This is a great alternative to a classic margarita. It's nice and fresh from the blackberries, which gives it that summer vibe, and it's a little bit sweeter than a classic margarita, but the acid from the lime juice and the salt on the rim helps cut through the sweetness. It's just a really great alternative. I really like it. Cheers. Alright, that's it for this video. This one was a fun one. It was cool to take something classic and put a twist on it. So let me know which one your favorite one is, the classic or the blackberry margarita. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a like, and also find me on Instagram at TaylorMakes92. I think I'm going to go out back and enjoy the nice weather with a margarita. So with that said, we'll see you on the next one. Today's recipe calls for not margaritas, we're making margaritas. It's good. It's pretty early to be day drinking. But everybody in America is probably like, oh, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, you know? Come on now. Enjoy this nice weather. And drop the lens. You think I'm gonna go? This is how you should drink a margarita, out of a quart container, not nice dishware. Alright, let's give our blackberry lime. Oh. Alright, that's it for this video. The last time I had tequila, it was a good time, and then it turned into a bad time. Hopefully I don't get sick again. I'm set on margaritas after this video. Can't keep trying these things.